Okay, time for part 2 on making your model crash test dummy vid. Here's where I'm going to start marking out the lines on my balsa blank that I've sanded and cut down to shape to figure out what I'm going to remove further to add functional and aesthetic detail. So on the top there, I'm marking out some lines for some spaces for the eyes, which you'll see are kind of resemblant of a computer mouse. And I've also marked on the front like a zigzag pattern for the teeth, and on the bottom here I'm marking out space where I'm going to recess those rear wheels into the body of the vehicle. There you go, you get a nice little look at it there. And I'm now going to start getting into carving. So when you're using the carving tools, it's super duper important to secure your work so that your workpiece isn't going to wobble and move around. So that's a big safety thing there. But it also helps when you're carving if you don't have to hold it with your opposite hand. When you're carving, you've got to make sure, just like when you're using a chisel, you're always keeping your hands and body on the other side of the blade to where you're working. Okay, well there we go, we've got a little groove out of the way for the eyes there, and it's starting to look good. Kind of reminiscent of Lilo and Stitch, if anyone remembers that movie. That's pretty cool. If I didn't mention it already, it's really important to make sure your design is symmetrical, and what you've marked on one side of the job is the same on the other. One side will carve a little bit easier than the other, depending on which way the grain is flowing. Now, whilst carving can take some time, it's actually a really cool feeling to do, to be able to shape things sort of free-formed and getting smooth surfaces and really cool curvy lines. So when these eyes are done, whilst they might not serve a super functional purpose, they're going to look mean and cool. Different carving tools will do different stuff here. So when I'm trying to get a deeper, sharper line, I might use the tool that's got like the 90-degree blade on it. But when I'm trying to scrape out bigger areas, I might be using the rounded, more open-mouthed tools. On the top here, I just decided to add a couple extra like zoom grooves. And now I'm working on the front of the car, and I'm doing that little zigzag pattern for the teeth, kind of like the front grille of the vehicle. But for whatever reason, I decided to make this kind of monster alien type themed. Once I've done the teeth, I'm going to just make a couple little holes here for what would look like the nostrils, and this thing's going to look pretty mean pretty soon. Alright, now for a bit more heavy duty carving here. I've got to take a big space out here to try and recess or hide the rear wheels inside the main chassis or body of the car. Now there's a couple of reasons why I do that. But we'll talk about that one as a bit of a research task about why wheels might be concealed in a car. But yeah, you might have already done that in some of your research tasks. But it's an aerodynamic and maybe a style thing. If you look back and watch Back to the Future or something, a lot of the older cars might have had their rear wheels hidden. But yeah, anyway, that's a design thing. So you can see I'm using different tools there and got the rear wheel to fit in. And because you're probably getting bored now at about the 3-minute mark, I'm not going to worry about the other side. I'm just going to start adding some colour and give you a little bit of an idea about what this vehicle might look like when it's finished. Now I'm only using a black and a red whiteboard marker here, which is not really great on balsa because it's going to dry these things out, but hey, this is what we do in lockdown to try and get you guys enthused and hopefully inspire you to come up with an even cooler vehicle. So check this out. What do you think? Yeah, not bad so far. I'm looking forward to racing this baby. Woo!